What's up, y'all? So a few months ago I came out with a video about what the best Fujifilm lenses were and why it doesn't matter. And why I say it doesn't matter is because all the Fujifilm lenses are good. They don't make any bad lenses. So no matter what lens you get, it's gonna be good. It's like a little bit of a difference between the f2s and then the 1.2s, 1.4s, 1.8s, whatever the other lenses are. There's not a huge difference. Again, I don't know if I'm explaining this well, but it just comes down to when you're shooting every day, it's your tools. And so eventually you want to invest into the top end tools, even if they're not that big of a difference. To me, they make enough of a difference, and I'm working enough to where I was like, okay, it's time to upgrade to the other lenses. So yeah, but all the lenses are good. So if you can't afford the 16 1.4, get the 18 2.8. It's probably even sharper, who knows? I don't know. It'll get the job done. That's all I'm always saying, gets the job done. The number one question that I get is what lens I recommend and what's my go-to lens, which doesn't make sense. It comes down to what you want to shoot. If you want to shoot landscape, I would get a wide angle lens and a telephoto lens. So you could do like wide angles to get the landscape and then telephoto to get more detail shots that you can mix in and do some storytelling, you know? If you're doing portraits, I wouldn't suggest getting a wide angle lens for portraits because you're gonna distort the face and it's not gonna be flattering for most subjects. So yeah, what I shoot mainly like commercial, editorial, fashion type stuff. My lens choices pretty much span the whole range from wide to telephoto. I used to have a go-to, but I'm kind of just all over the place now. I'm focusing more on storytelling rather than specific shots. While I have to shoot one outfit, I'll either start a telephoto, a mid-range, or a wide. Again, it just depends on what I feel like starting with. I'll go through all three lenses. So I'll start, again, doesn't matter what I start with, but I could start with a wide angle and I get some wider shots that kind of get the whole body, the whole outfit, and some of the background and just to set the atmosphere and the setting. I'll move in with like a mid length lens. After I explain all this, I'll show you what lenses I use. But I'll start and then I'll go into a mid-range lens and maybe get some portraits or some more wide angle stuff, but I just back up more so I get more bokeh in there. So it's still about the close, but more about the close rather than the surrounding area and the atmosphere. And then after that, I'll usually pop it on telephoto and just repeat the whole thing. And that kind of compresses the background and the whole situation, and it kind of makes it this whole cinematic thing. Same with the wide angle. The wide angle kind of separates things from real life because we don't see, I mean, we see wide, but I think they say like our eye's focal length is like a 50 millimeter. But the fact that we have peripheral vision, it's like anamorphic. So if you put a 50 millimeter anamorphic lens and you compare it to a regular 50 millimeter, like on a regular camera, 50 millimeters could be this. On an anamorphic, I'm gonna be in the same position, but you're gonna see all of this around here. So that's basically what our eyes see. Our eyes see widescreen. I wouldn't say wide angle, but widescreen, if any of that makes sense. So yeah, I have no idea why I was talking about that. But yeah, so let's go over the lenses that I have. I'm gonna go over this bag eventually. I had to use this light bar. I should do a review on this light bar too. There's a light bar in here and it's freaking amazing. But yeah, I'm usually taking my motorcycle to quicker gigs where I don't have to take as much gear. Like I don't have to take my C-stand and light modifiers or crazy video gear or anything like that. So yeah, this bag is pretty awesome for all that. But yeah, enough about that. Let's go into the lenses. All right, let's start with wide. So I've been through a lot of Fujifilm lenses. I've started with the kit lens on the Fujifilm XT20, and then I got the XT2, and with that I had the 23 millimeter f2, the 35 millimeter f2, and the 50 millimeter f2, which I loved all those lenses, but I missed that full frame bokeh. How full frame bokeh works is, I wouldn't say crop sensor gets less, but it's the fact that with like a 50 millimeter on a full frame, you have to get this close, right? And then on a 50 millimeter on a crop sensor, you kind of have to back up to get the same composition. So when you expand that distance between you and the subject, you're losing bokeh because of that. So I wouldn't say it's because of the sensor, but more of the distance of the crop factor. I don't know if that makes sense either. Again, these are whole different subjects for different videos, but yeah, so I've now upgraded all my lenses to the 1.4s, 1.2s, except for my telephoto lens, which I'll explain why in a second. But yeah, let's start with the 16mm 1.4. So I had the 18mm f2. I still have it somewhere. I need to sell it because I'm hardly use it anymore. People hate on the lens for some reason. I have no idea why. It's pretty sharp. It's not sharp on the corners, but it's sharp like in the middle area, which is fine for what I was doing. But there was times where I didn't want to put the subject off in the corner and I would just kind of lose all my sharpness. And you could bring the sharpness back in post, but it's not the same. On top of that, it's a very small lens and my finger kept bumping the focus ring and it would put my camera into manual focus, to the assist, so it would zoom in and mess up my composition, then I have to tap and recompose and all that. And it was getting really annoying. The build quality was pretty good, but it's just like a really light lens. Wasn't a lot of weight or girth to it. So on bigger gigs, I just wasn't vibing with it. So I got the 16 1.4, and this is way more of a beefy lens. Build quality seems more sturdy, but that just might be because it's bigger and heavier. I got the cool little square hood mount. So yeah, now in the corners, everything's pretty sharp on here. The 1.4 comes in handy for low light stuff. So when I'm shooting music videos, I don't like to shoot wide open, but there's a lot of times where I have to shoot at night or in low light situations. Having 1.4 just helps. I mean, it makes it really hard in video though to keep focus on that. But yeah, if you want to gamble that, that option's there. But overall, like, I just like the lens more. Like the manual focus ring, you have to snap that down and then you can focus manually. And then once you snap that up, it doesn't move. So that fixed the main issue that I was having with it. But overall, it's another 2mm wider. It doesn't really affect how I shoot really from the 18mm. But yeah, loving this lens. I wanna say that this is my favorite lens, but I'll probably say that about every lens that I'm using. So, next one, the 56 1.2. I love this lens too. The 1.2 gives you that, I don't know, it's like magic when you have like a 1.2 lens on a Fujifilm camera. The Fujifilm camera kind of comes alive with this lens. It's a bit pricey. You could get it used for way cheap, like half the price of it new, I think. Fujifilm's been having a lot of sales lately, and I might as well just buy new sometimes. Shooting this at 1.2 is insane, which I don't really do too often. I usually only go down to 1.4, especially in daylight. You can't really shoot wide open on this because there's just too much light coming through when you're shooting like under hard light, which is usually the case for me because I'm shooting in the desert a lot. Palm Springs, Joshua Tree area. I'm in love with this lens. Focusing's pretty quick on the XT3. I haven't tried it on the XT2 or XT20 or any of those, but it's pretty much just solid. I kind of want to get the squared hood for this too because it does flare a lot, which usually I love flares, but as I'm maturing as a photographer, I'm starting to like less flares, which is crazy. But yeah, I mean, when you're shooting it wide open, you're gonna get flares because that's just like a lot of glass just opening up. But yeah, and the build quality on this thing's solid. Like I haven't had any issues with it. And then my last lens, well, I have one more after this, a little bonus lens. But my last lens is the 55-200. This, again, I want to say that they're all my favorite lenses, but I've been pretty much using all my lenses consistently, equally. So I've been contemplating getting the 50-160 or 140, whatever it is, for the f2.8, because when it's sunset or dusk, like before or after light comes up or down, having a 2.8 helps a lot. But usually for daylight stuff, this thing is a rock star. From what I need to stop saying rock star, it's douchey. Yeah, the 50-140. The sharpness seems pretty comparable between these two. They don't seem like there's a huge leap between the two. The 50-140, I think like the length of it is around there, maybe a little less, maybe around here. And then on this guy, you could just tuck it in. So again, as I said in the beginning of the video, how I ride my motorcycle to a lot of shoots, having just more compact lenses just helps me a lot. I mean, I could probably fit it in this bag. You can see, if you can see, I don't know, I don't want to dump all my gear out. This guy fits perfectly right into here. So I could probably make more room to get in there. But again, I don't know. I'm gonna have to do tests and see if it's worth getting that one. Again, the sharpness is the same, but having the 2.8 would help a lot. Like I was just shooting for Wrangler, the jean company up in San Luis Obispo, and we're shooting like a dozen like cowboys and horses racing, and we're on top of a ridge, and you can see the ocean behind us and the sunset. And this lens, it was keeping up, but I had to bump my ISO up to like 3200, which I'd rather not do. I mean, it doesn't look bad on the Fujifilm XT3, but I just rather not do that. And again, it's because I had to zoom all the way in, and I'm shooting at like 5.6, and yeah, I'd rather have shot it at 2.8. So I don't know, I'll probably end up getting it, but we'll see. And then yeah, you can see the lens hood. So this is how it looks if the lens hood isn't on there. So I don't love how that comes out like that. Again, super sharp, quick to focus lens. But the 2.8, like I don't know. As you can tell, I keep talking about that 2.8, so probably end up getting it, we'll see. And then yeah, and then my bonus lens. Most of the time, I keep this in my bag just in case for photo shoots. I might want to grab some video on a photo shoot. I do that a lot. Like if the outfit's and location, the model really good, I'm just like, I should probably film something and make some little video out of it. Because you'd be shocked that converts into gigs more than you think. Like they don't know that it's 5 minutes of clips for a minute video and it wasn't planned, you're just having some fun with it. If brands see you could do video, there's not many people doing video, like decently good video with good colors and storytelling and stuff. And again, it doesn't have to be like anything crazy, just a tiny bit of a story goes a long way. So yeah, it's the 18 to 55 kit lens, the 2.8 to 1 or the 2.8 to 4. I have a little focus ring on here because when I do have my whole rig, I've had another whole video, if I remember to, I'll link it in the description, but I have a follow focus system and all that. And on this, I have a variable ND filter and a black pearl mist stiffen filter to soften it up a little bit. So yeah, I generally keep this in my bag. If I know I'm mainly shooting photos, I'll leave this just to save some weight in my bag and stuff some other stuff in here. But yeah, and also you can see I have a bunch of gaffer's tape over my camera because I'm pretty hard on my gear. I mean, this camera could take it, and I want the silver one, and it just gets beat up a little bit too much with me, so I'm trying to save it a little bit. But yeah, guys, so those are my lenses. Again, I get weekly DMs, if not daily DMs, on my Instagram asking me what Fujifilm lenses I'm using. So again, I've done a video about this before, but this is an update because I've updated all my stuff in the past like 6 months. Again, the 50, 35, 23, all the F2 lenses are really solid, good lenses. They actually focus even better, which is like not that big of a deal because the focusing system on these new cameras are insane. Again, I started with like a Canon T2i 6 years ago, and what these cameras do now are just like, I feel spoiled. So when people were saying, oh, like the 1.2 is too slow, it's like, it's still pretty damn quick. Like if you think that's slow, try a manual focus film camera, which I think everyone should because it kind of slows you down, makes you think more about your shot. It's like $5 per shot. I recommend everyone shoot some film. I used to, but after I started shooting with Fujifilm, I was like, I get my colors that I like with this. So there's no reason to shoot with film anymore. Yeah, guys, if you have any other questions, let me know. If you think I should get the 50 to 140 f2.8, let me know if there's a big difference, if any of you guys have any experience with that. Other than all the lenses I spoke about, I don't think I've tried any other ones. I'm trying to think. No, yeah, I think those are the only ones I've tried so far, so I can only speak of what I know. But yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions, comment, DM me on Instagram, let me know. Peace.